It's Thursday, October 3rd, and you're listening to the Geek at Geek News Central, the longest continuous running tech podcast. This is show number 895, sponsored in part by GoDaddy.com. Our October GoDaddy special, customers get economy hosting for $1.99 per month and a free .com at GoDaddy.com by using the promo code HOSTOFF3. Geek News Central is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. Hey, tonight we talk about Lavabit and their battle with the US government, plus a whole lot more. Let's launch this baby. It's a go time.
All right, people, I need a go, no-go for the Geek News Central podcast. Digital archive recorders.
We're go fly.
Microphone.
We're go fly.
Video feed.
Go.
Web browser.
Go.
RSS data stream aggregator.
Go fly.
Interflux Toddism suppressor.
All right. I'm confused.
Host readiness check.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
The Geek News Central podcast is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to go. Cue Todd in
5,
Button, who's got the button?
4,
There is no cause for alarm.
3,
Everybody hold on to something.
2,
Just press the button.
1.
Showtime.
Aloha and welcome to Geek News Central, coming to you as live as it can be from the beautiful state of Hawaii via the Geek News Central studio overlooking Honolulu. Hey everyone, welcome to the show. And just a few minutes late getting started here tonight, but I got a great show lined up for you. Thanks, of course, for all of you that are longtime listeners, part of the Ohana here, part of the family. Thanks for staying subscribed and, of course, supporting the show. It's greatly appreciated. Those of you who are new to the show, you're welcome. And I encourage you to, stick around for a few episodes and definitely check us out. We got a lot to offer on this show, lots of tech content to talk about. Why don't you get over to geeknewscentral.com and check the website out. Our writers are always busy over there putting up great content. So we got a great writing team. And, of course, you can get subscribed to all the shows at Geek News Central right on the website. Get signed up for our newsletter as well. That's really important because we'll deliver all everything that I really talk about tonight will come via the newsletter. Of course, you can go over to gncshownotescom/895 to get all the links to all the articles I talk about tonight. I'm going to tell you, we're fast approaching show 900. And I get a few things to discuss about where the show's going, basically some reflections that I've been making over the past couple of months, and we'll talk about that here in a few minutes. But you can always watch or listen to the show on a variety of different places, primarily, of course, the Tech Podcast channel on the Roku, on the Boxee, on Samsung Smart TV, Google TV, and just about every piece of glass that has a internet connection behind it. You can get access to this show. And, of course, you can contact me real easily on Twitter at Geek News. You can call the voicemail hotline at geeknews@gmail.com. And we've got about a month left, or 25 days or so, before we shut down the hotline. But the hotline does remain open through the end of October. So 619-342-7365 will be the place that you can leave an audio comment. But come November 1st, it's gone. It's out of here. So just moving, doing some shifting at the show, which is good. Hey, I tell you, great team over at techpodcast.com, and the team is real active over there right now. We've been having a considerable number of discussions and so forth, back and forth about what's going to happen with CES and a variety of things. We got some exciting things we're going to be kicking off here in the middle of the month, so some details on that in upcoming shows. But definitely check out all the family safe shows over at techpodcast.com. Streaming tonight live up on YouTube, and everything looks like it's working well there. So we got our fingers crossed that continues to be the same. Hey, of course, we want to thank our sponsor here on the show. We want to thank our folks over at GoDaddy.com. Got some great deals this month. Really, they loaded this up, and there's really no reason not to go out and pick up some product because they've made it incredibly inexpensive just for you. So here's the first of 3 deals. For $1.99, you can get economy hosting, $1.99 per month. You get economy hosting for 12 months, and they include a free domain. So for $24 a year, minus the normal $8.49 that a .com would cost if you bought it without a discount, you're looking at like $16 for an economy hosting account. That's pretty awesome. By using the promo code HOST, HOST off 3, HOST off 3 is the code for you to use. And of course, if you want to support a donation to Breast Cancer Awareness Month, you get a .org domain name for the first year at $9.99 by using the promo code ORG4, ORG4. So if you got an organization that you're working with and want to support them by buying them a .org domain name, that's what you should do. And of course, you can get 30% off your new order at GoDaddy by using the promo code 30DEAL3, 30DEAL3. So lots of codes for you to use. And here's the best part. All you got to do is when you're over on the website at geeknewscentral.com, you just scroll down just a little itsy bits, and in the second column, about a quarter of the way down, there's a big banner that says GoDaddy promo codes. Click on that. That's going to take you into all the codes that we have available. And we've got these October specials, which are great, but I've also got these everyday offers that are non-expiring. So definitely check all those out. There's a code there for every occasion, minus the SSL certificate. That one is still currently turned off, and we're trying to get that turned back on. So, but a lot of codes there for you to use over at GoDaddy. We want you to save money. That's what it's all about. By being a listener to the show, we're going to try to bring you deals on different products and services that you can save some cash on, and that's the goal. And we're about ready. I think we're real close to launching a new campaign with a company that I think you're going to be really excited about. I can't say. I don't want to say what it is before we get rolling here, because it's a, well, I'll just save it. I'll just save it till we launch. I've been working with the media buyer on it. I'm really excited about the campaign. It fits perfect for this show and a bunch of shows over at techpodcast.com and part of our network over at Blueberry. So I look forward to launching with that campaign. Okay, so let me, one thing I've been doing is, I just, been watching where the show's going. I'm happy with the content. The format has not changed, very, very little over 895 episodes. Got some great feedback via email here over the past couple of days, but asking you guys what you love, what you hate about the show. And one thing that it didn't come in via an email, but something I've been thinking about for a long time is that you guys all know I am just absolutely crushed. It's usually, as I talked about on the last show, my hair is literally on fire. From now until January about 15th, and even after that, things are just going to be completely nuts here. So what I want to do is I'm looking for a couple of people, a couple of super fans, and I've got really a couple of very easy jobs for you to do. And something that sometimes I'm neglected doing and is we have contests during the show and I offer prizes up. So oftentimes I will have a couple of contests and then it'll be like a couple of weeks before I get the orders out. And that's really not acceptable from a timely standpoint. So I'm looking for someone to be my prize and contest coordinator. And really all you're going to do, and it's going to be someone I can really trust, because I'm going to give you access to be able to order stuff for me. Okay, so it should be a long-time listener of the show, and basically I'm going to make it so that you can basically handle taking care of making sure that the prizes are distributed and stuff like that. So, and really, I'm looking for some volunteers initially that will help out here. So I'm looking for a prize and contest coordinator, and I'll work with you to whatever level. If nothing else, track and do the email exchanges and back and forth, and really kind of be like an assistant for me when it comes to prize and contest. So I'm looking for somebody on that. Also, what I'm looking for, someone that's already an insider to help me with the insider program, to be really my insider coordinator. And, of course, the insider coordinator is folks that are contributing to the show, either like folks have submitted graphics before, people have done bumpers, people have contributed money at geeknewscentral.com/insider. Really anyone that helps the show out a lot is an insider. So I'm really looking for someone, and it's really going to be an easy job, is to kind of be my insider coordinator. And basically what I will do is, as there's a new individual that comes in and becomes an insider, just send that email over to you, and you can add them to the mailing list, and just going to have get some excitement going on for the insider program. So initially, just kind of 2 volunteer positions for the show, and if we get more than one person that will volunteer for this, I will basically kind of make a judgment call, and we'll have a conversation on the phone. But love to have a little extra help from the audience. If you want to come in here and be a super supporter. And I guess if you're not an insider and you want to help out the show, you could become the insider coordinator and be an insider just for helping out. If you're not able to, contribute a small amount to the show, maybe you can come in and just get a little time. And again, this is, both of these things are very minimal amount of time needed, but it's something that I think that personally, I think I'm weak at from an administrative standpoint. Another thing I've started to do here is, for many years, I've worked on a template for the opening of the show. And while that template won't change, I've used basically the same doc. I just update the page. And I think sometimes what will happen is because stuff gets dropped a couple of times down through, I'll forget about something. So what we're going to do is, myself internally, is I'm going to go to a more of a journal type system where each show will have its own quote unquote show notes page. Now, a lot of the data will be the same, but the, kind of the remarks area where I manage stuff is going to be basically handled separately, and it will be, each show will have its own page. 895 in, it's, you got to teach a goat and dog a new trick once in a while, right? And I think just some of these things will help a little bit and make sure that when I come up with a great prize and we do something that the people get stuff in a timely manner, and that the insiders are taken care of a little better than, because oftentimes, like I said, my hair's on fire and things are crazy. If nothing else, sometimes it could be an email just to kick me in the pants a little bit and say, hey, did you take care of that? So, I'd love to have someone come in and help support the show. And if you want to fill one of those 2 positions, let me know. I try to take care of each folks, at the end of the year, a little Christmas present of some sort. But again, it will be basically a volunteer position at this point. But who knows? Maybe it can grow into something bigger as the show continues to move forward. Okay, what else is going on? Not a lot here. We're I'm really podcastawards.com. The nomination period's open this afternoon. They've got this on Google Analytics. They have this ability to, watch the traffic. And I just kind of had it running in the background and was really kind of not even semi paying attention to it. But all of a sudden I seen it go from like 50, 100, 250, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000. I was like, what is going on? And there was this huge surge that lasted just like 4 or 5 hours. I got into the log files a little bit more. And of course, with Google Analytics, a lot of the data is delayed a little bit. You can see the real-time stuff, but it doesn't completely update. So I'm going to be looking at that tomorrow to figure out exactly where that traffic come from. But don't forget to get over and nominate your favorite shows. And I think we're covered right now on the folks that are going to help us review the nominations at the end of the nomination period, which, believe it or not, we're already day 3 in to the nominations. So it's just one of those things. It's hard to believe it's a 9th annual, Well, you think about this show. Here we are 10-3, and really, we are really close at this point to the 9th anniversary. The show started in October of 2004, and the exact date I've got written down, again, it's one of those numbers I don't necessarily pull up in my brain, but I think it's here in the middle of the month, and we'll recognize it. I'll dig into the calendar when I need to and get the exact date, but 9 years of doing the show is pretty incredible. So anyway, let's go ahead. Enough me yakking here just about this crap, and let's go ahead and move on to the content. We'll get into the full tech show. As one person at email, I said, I hate the beginning part, but love the speed of the content. So as I tell people, if you hate the beginning of the show, that's the one thing about watching time delayed. You can always go fast forward, double time, triple time on the content. But we'll get the word count up here now as we move into to the full lineup of stuff I've got for the show tonight. Let me close this. And you know, here in Hawaii, it's been a little weird here over the past month. And usually right here in this window, I'm getting a nice breeze, a nice trade wind breeze, but it's been coming basically in the front door of my house. So we're at the moisture level right here is perfect. It's nice, cool, and comfortable. But when my front door of my house is behind me, when the air's coming that way, the humidity's up. So it's one of those deals where you're like, ugh. And it just wipes you out. Hey, I want to show you guys something. When I went over to, of course, we know the shutdown, the government shutdown. You guys missing anything on the government shutdown? I know a lot of people could care less. I know there's a lot of people that aren't working right now. I know that we have some listeners on the show that are federal workers, and we're day 3 into this, and you're impacted. But the question I have is, why did the US government shut off all their websites? This is the page you go to now when you go to nasa.gov. And, I'm going to be kind of straight up here, and I'm just going to call it the way I see it. I think someone, how should we say it for a better word, decided that they wanted to make it painful. There was no reason for them to shut the websites down. Really, there was no reason for them to do that. And someone high up, they had, there's a specific word my dad used to use that I want to use, but it's not appropriate for the show. It involves a hair. Someone, it's just, they got up on the wrong side of the bed and they said, oh, okay, they shut the government down. We're going to shut the websites down. And I really, that to me is being spiteful. It's just like, this thing with the World War II memorial. It's open air. It's on, public accessible sidewalks. And what did they do? They put barricades up, and then these World War II vets came and, busted the barricade. But now I hear they're putting up, like, bigger barricades and armed guards. And what it is, it's just, and that's what it really is. And it drives me crazy. The whole thing is bad. The whole situation is bad. And why I don't want to get political here, because I know this audience 50-50. One of you think fire them, and the other one's like, that's their fault. So here's what I say. Let's get rid of them all. Let's vote them all out. The next go around, vote for anybody that's not in office. Get rid of the whole batch. I think we just need a fresh start. Get rid of all those old grumpy men on both sides, and just just start with a clean slate. And maybe they'll start listening, and working together. Would that just be the solution? With this whole thing of going to nasa.gov and the website's down. Someone just added a redirect. The website's still up. It's not really down. So I just laugh. I really, really do. And for giggles, I ran my, you guys all know I'm retired military, so I don't have to go out and get additional health care. I've got health care as part of my retirement plan. I'm very grateful to have it. But I did do the numbers. My health care would be $9,940 a year with a $5,000 deductible on the silver plan. I just ran the numbers to see what they would be. And I guess, with all things considering, it's probably would be about average of what you would be, what I would be paying, as regular employment. So I don't know. you know, it's one half dozen the other. I'm not going to talk about the plus and minuses of it. I'll let you guys all figure that out. But that's at least what it would be for me. So it's kind of crazy. Hey, I want to give a shout out to Mr. Don Bain, the Gadget Professor. He's put his latest show up. Actually, I saw an error when I loaded up WordPress tonight, so I got to check and make sure his media linked up. But the Gadget Professor number 125, covering a smartphone, flashlight, and magnifier, one app plus mirror mode. So show notes are up on the Gadget Professor. His episode is up. And don't forget to watch Langley over at Robot Underpants. All right, let's talk about Lavabit. And if you've got an hour, or maybe more, you got to read the court filings. Now, this didn't make a lot of news today, which surprised me. But you're not going to believe what the email provider Lavabit did to avoid giving the U.S. government its data. If you go through and read 162 pages of court documents, and again, I don't know, some of these say, basically, I don't think they were supposed to reveal them. I don't see anywhere in the stack, because I spent a lot of time reading down through this thing. I see nowhere in the stack where they were actually unsealed. I don't know if Lavabit is just rolling the dice and put them out there. But we know that the email provider was used by NSA whistleblower Edward Snowden. And that according to newly unsealed documents, I guess, U.S. government got a search warrant in July to demand from Lavabit the private SSL keys that protected all web traffic to the site. Now, they also requested Lavabit put something that's called pen tap or something like that, some sort of tap on their data lines. I don't know if it was a feed-through device or what, but basically they did not object to, well, it took them a while. They were just, if you read through the documents, it basically, they were said, hey, here's a subpoena, this is what we want you to do, and he really drug his feet, he really did. And you know, every opportunity you can see the maneuvering going on between lawyer and the government and in meeting with them. And, you know, basically he got hauled in front of a grand jury and basically in front of the judge and said, hey, you got to comply. And if you don't, the government's going to go after sanctions. And he basically kind of acquiesced a little bit at that point. But this is not like after a month of giving them the runaround. And ultimately here, they were supposed to turn over, or the Lavabit founder, Ladar Levison, was supposed to turn over the private SSL keys within 24 hours of a specific court hearing that happened on July 12th. In an attempt of, I guess, what would be considered dry humor, he complied with his order by turning over the SSL keys as an 11-page printout in 4-point type, which the government called illegible. They said they couldn't read it. Immediately they went back to the court, and the court basically said, if you don't turn it over, we're going to, this was August 4th. You don't turn it over on we got the order on August 5th. You know, turn over by August 6th, you're going to start paying $5,000 a day. That's going to be your penalty. And on August 8th is when Lavabit announced on its website that it would shut down. Now, there's like 22 exhibits. Now, the lawyers were busy. There's a lot of redacted stuff in here that's blacked out. But no, I'd say a small amount of redacted stuff that was blacked out. But ultimately, what happened was at the very end, in the last filing by Lavabit's lawyers, they appealed. They appealed the course. Now, I guess, you know, so you got to turn over your SSL certificate, and we're going to put a pen tap on your system. And he says, okay. And he said, instead of letting them do that, he says, okay, forget it. I'm done. I'm pulling the plug on this thing. And so I don't know what's going to, I haven't been following super close on what charges are against him now. If the government's going to go after him for obstructing justice by pulling the plug on his business. But basically, he said, ultimately, his 400,000 users, of which I guess 11,000 of them were paying users, basically, he would rather shut the service down than to let the government have unfettered access to all the traffic going in and out of his service by having given up the SSL certificate keys. So, but I'm not kidding, if you take time, if you've got the time, if you're a business owner, I got to hand to this guy. I don't know. Personally, if the government came to me and said, Todd, there's data on your server from one of your customers. Here's the court order. You have to comply. I don't run an email encryption service, so I don't think I'd ever get anything like this. But, if you have a court tell you what to do, you really have to decide where you're going to draw the line. And with those actions come, let's face it, potential jail time, fines, the gambit. You might go away for a while, and your life is definitely not going to be the same if you fight. So he decided to fight, and I'm going to tell you, pretty strong principles. You got to hand it to him for having the strong principles. And I really would love to hear from you guys. If those of you that take the time, and again, you may not want to read all 162 pages of this, but if you go through and read and skim, and some of the documents, like 3/4 of the way through, are really, really good. If you read the ones where the court is doing the question answer between the lawyers and the owner of Lavabit, you'll see, how I can just feel the tension in the courtroom. I really can. In the question and answer that the judge was doing. And the judge also didn't get completely steamrolled by the government by telling the government, no, I've done certain things. We're here to decide this today. And one discussion was about the subpoena. The government had finally got exasperated and requested a subpoena basically to raid this guy's business and get the keys one way or the other, a.k.a. haul the gear off, So long story short here, he didn't comply. And, but it's just, I'd love to hear from all of you that read through this. Would you have complied? Would you have had the fortitude, the personal fortitude, to stand up and say no? This guy knew when he got the subpoena. He knew, because this guy had already released all this stuff, right? So he knew he was putting out state secrets out on the internet. So, the Lavabit owner understood that this guy was, at the very least, was going to get charged, if apprehended with treason and, all the other stuff that goes on with, releasing classified information, and that's serious charges, which the guy had. We've already talked about this. The guy had to trust the government. He signed an agreement. He broke that agreement, and he's going to pay the consequences someday. Again, I've talked about this before. I'm surprised the guy hasn't had 2 bullets to the back of the head and in his face down the ditch. He's still roaming around breathing, but at the same time, you're a business owner and you live in the United States, and you fall underneath the jurisdiction of local authorities and everything else. And when a law has been broken and there's a criminal investigation going on, you're quite compelled by court orders to comply. And I think, probably the most of us would think that, okay, I'm a business. I didn't know what this guy was doing. Can I trust the government to do what they say they're going to do by putting this sniffer on my network? And obviously the Lavabit guy didn't feel that he could trust the government. And it also, there's a lot of other things that could be going on here. The Lavabit owner could have known that there might have been some other individuals using his service that, how should we say it, could have brought a lot of heat down upon him. Now, let's say someone else, let's say some criminal organization, let's say some mafia organization or some Russian syndicate or someone else, let's say someone else was using Lavabit to cover their tracks and what they were doing. And, maybe this guy knew this, and maybe he said, oh my God, if I open this up and make this available, I'm going to be the guy that's going to be face down in the ditch. Maybe he was between a rock and a hard place, and maybe his heart said one thing, but the safety net of his, so there could be all, we just don't know everything, right? So I'd love to hear you guys' thought process on this. I feel myself to be true red, white, and blue. And I hate to say it, but if the government was, and I shouldn't say I hate to say it, if the government came to me with a court order, I think I would have to comply. I think I would be concerned probably with all the news that's been going on, especially if I was running a service like this guy, But I don't, so I just I'm never going to have to be forced to be. At least I don't think I would ever have to be forced to be put in that situation. Based on my background, I just don't know if I could. I don't know. I don't think I could do what this guy did. I really don't. I really don't. So it's kind of an interesting. It's very interesting what he did, and he's going to pay the price, for basically not complying. Now, there was appeal and all that stuff, and at the very least, I think he'll be lucky if he gets out without jail time. To be honest with you, I just don't know what can be done. I'm sure it isn't pretty. You basically to interfere with a criminal investigation. I don't want to be that person. No. I really don't. But what do you guys think? What would you have done if it had been your business? So I'd love to hear your feedback. Really, what geeknews@gmail.com. And but I'm gonna tell you, the guy's I can understand his dilemma. He's probably scared. I would just be imagining he's just absolutely scared to death. But anyway, link will be up in the show notes for you to check it out. Another thing that's come out is the U.S. Department of Justice issued a formal response to requests by Google and Microsoft and other internet companies to disclose more information about government requests for user data under the FISA, the Federal Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. And probably no surprise, it's firmly against the idea. They say, although the government has attempted to release as much information as possible about the collection activities overseen by the court, the FISA court wrote in a 25-page brief on Wednesday that the public debate about surveillance does not give the companies the First Amendment right to disclose information that the government has determined must remain a secret. Google and Microsoft jointly sued the government for more leeway to inform the users of government data requests in August, and the FISA court's brief notes that Facebook, LinkedIn, and Yahoo have all since made similar petitions. The folks at Microsoft said they will continue to press for additional transparency, but at this point, the court has said, you're not going to do that. So I would expect a big corporation like that will have to comply with this court order. I'm sure the stockholders would not be happy if they went against the court order and end up having, it could be services could be seized. There's lots of different things could happen. But we know that in March, Google won the right to disclose aggregate information about the number of national security letters it received from federal agencies. Specifically, it was allowed to admit that it received anywhere from none to 1,000 of them. But the FISA court argues in its brief that no specific information should be revealed. And I have to agree, such information, if revealed, would be invaluable to the bad guys out there who could really, learn a lot more stuff than the government would want them to know, and about the initiatives the government takes. So anyway, link will be up in the show notes on this article over at theregister.co.uk. And an interesting antidote to this, Verizon says, when it comes to protecting your data, they say, don't look at us. Basically, Verizon's vice president of national security policy, and I got to turn the fan down here, Marcus Sachs, said, if you're worried about it, do something about it. Take security on yourselves and don't trust anybody else. Chris, you can stand up. My son just printed something on the printer here. He says, don't trust anyone else to do it. Don't look at us to protect your data. That's on you. There are services out there up to a certain point. You want encrypted phone calls? There's an app for that. So basically, Verizon says you want to secure stuff. You do it yourself. We're not going to. Which, that is pretty clear handwriting on the wall for me. I want to switch gears here completely, and let's talk about Fukushima. I'm not, there's a lot of websites out here that really, man, they spin what's going on in Fukushima hard, and I don't know what's fact, what's fiction, what is, because you've got all spectrums here, and I think we're all concerned about what happened, at Fukushima and the ongoing radiation release. That cannot be denied. And it can't be denied that it was bad and continues to be very, very bad. And I hope I just didn't bump something here. Let me check. So there is concern right now, a big concern, that Fukushima Unit Number 4 has shown signs of collapse. Now, what's scary about this is that when the earthquake happened and the tsunami came, the Unit Number 4 was in a rework, I guess basically in a rework condition. But all the rods were in a different pool, like 100 feet off the ground or something like that. And what they're worried about is there's like 13,000 nuclear rods or pellets or whatever it is in that stack. And these are not, they're not cool. They're still having to be kept cool. And there's water penetration, fractures in the soil. But if this collapses, they say this can be, you thought Chernobyl was bad. This is nothing as compared to what could happen here. It says more than 6,000. No, excuse me. That's in a common pool, 50 meters from Unit 4. There's 11. Boy, there's like 5 different news articles here, but I read through this, and it just makes you go, holy crap. This thing is not out of danger yet. And, what scares me about what's going on in Japan is that the Japanese are very, very proud. And, failure obviously is not an option for them, but they are so often not willing to ask for help. I really hope they have swallowed their pride and are really addressing this with the international community, because this thing could get much, much, much worse. And there's stuff on ENE News, Global Research, stuff from World Nuclear News, America Blog, a whole bunch of sources here. And if you read it, it should scare the living crap out of you. It really will. So I have the link up in the show notes. You guys can review it on your own. So we'll just keep our fingers crossed here in the next few weeks when they start working on that pool and moving those rods, that they're able to do this. And if they don't, stand by. All right, Microsoft Surface 2 pre-orders appear to be selling well, according to Uber Gizmo. And, of course, both their tablets are expected to be made available on October 22nd. So if you want to get your tablet on that date, you should probably move fast. But rumors are out that it is selling well. So we'll see. We'll see where this see where the numbers come in later on if they prove to be correct. Boy, if you've been a Bitcoin user, wow, you haven't had a couple of good days. I hope you sold, but the feds, wow, the notorious online drug market Silk Road has been shut down by the FBI. Its suspected operator arrested and charged with narcotics trafficking conspiracy, computer hacking conspiracy, and money laundering conspiracy, and $3.6 million worth of Bitcoin cryptocurrency has been confiscated by federal agents. The site's alleged founder and main operator, Ross William Ilbright, a.k.a. Dread Pirate Roberts, was arrested in a public library in San Francisco on Tuesday. Silk Road's Tor-based drug bazaar was shut down on Wednesday, and users visiting the site were met with the FBI takedown notice. They say they moved a lot of money through this thing. Now, the feds are claiming, like in the B's, billions of dollars were moved. Some people are contesting that total number. Also, is being reported that this guy wasn't necessarily a nice guy at all. And he was allegedly looking for a contract to hire to murder someone that was willing to reveal the customers on that site. Boy, oh boy, I mean, it's crazy. If you read this whole indictment and everything that has happened, this guy is going to jail for a long, long, long time. And but Bitcoin dropped, man. It just it went from like $140 to a single Bitcoin down to like 110. I don't know if it's bounced back, but some of the Bitcoin folks are real happy about this because they have basically said we've got rid of the scum, and now it's time to move Bitcoin forward with legitimate payments for products and services. So. But the DEA's got this guy and Homeland Security wrapped this guy up, and I'm sure he's going to be in jail for a while. The court proceedings on this will obviously be good news fodder as it goes through, but if the FBI and DEA and Homeland Security seized this site, I'm sure they're going to be looking for more. They're looking for people that have been using it. And I don't know if they're going to be able to trace anything back or not, but they say that this guy probably made as much as $8 million in operating the site. So it just goes to show you. And we all knew from the very get-go that there was some nefarious activity going on in some of these Bitcoin exchanges. And, any way they can launder drug money, that's or pay for drugs and not have it go through cash or a credit card, obviously is something that crooks will find different ways to move the cash, and they were. So, but the feds got $3.6 million worth of Bitcoin. So someone's out some money, which I'm sure we'll hear more about. But let's see here. Now, they what outed him, believe it or not. What they feel was the key to cracking who this guy was he had put a post up on a website that the feds were watching that basically he used his real name and or some, maybe his last name or something. And then immediately realized after he'd asked a question that was kind of tantalizing and it looked like it may have been associated with this site, he changed it to some other nick, but it was too late. The damage was done. And they were able to kind of start the wheels turning from that point to figure out who this guy was that was running the site. But the FBI estimates the site generated $1.2 billion in sales and $80 million in commissions. Oh, $80 million in commissions. Wow. I'm sure they're going to be looking for that money too. I guess this guy lived with a roommate in like an apartment in San Francisco, so it wasn't like he was living high on the hog. He's keeping a pretty low profile. Hey, the Microsoft investors, switching gears here, obviously Microsoft investors, 3 of them specifically, they collectively own more than 5% of the company's lobbying to have Founder Bill Gates removed as his role as chairman. Gates currently only has 4.5% stake in the company, and the investors are worried that Gates is helping to recruit a new CEO. They would rather have someone else a little younger in the seat acting as chairman that will help in that decision. But basically, these investors desire for more change at Microsoft and weren't satisfied with just Steve Ballmer stepping aside. They want more movement from basically some of the older leadership to stand down. I don't know if they'll get their way or not, but we'll see. One thing I didn't realize is there was Apple had submitted a patent for their Shanghai Apple Store that has these huge glass doors that basically welcomes fanboys to their Shanghai shop, and some sort of a turning door or something like that. And they actually applied for a patent for this thing. I didn't know you could patent a door. I really didn't. That to me was kind of like, oh, okay. But if you look at the patent and you look at the picture of the entrance to the Apple Store in Shanghai, it is obviously pretty unique. So anyway, the link will be up in the show notes. But I was like, wow, patenting architecture. That's a new one on me. And maybe it isn't so new for the rest of you, but it definitely was for me. There is an article out talking about cyber hackers. And one specific company is basically saying that determining where a cyber hacker comes from is not that really hard to find out. They basically saying that each cyber group, whether it be Chinese, Russian, variety of, whatever geographic area they come from, they have telltale signs and little tippers on how they do attacks. Now, this is kind of interesting. In Asia Pacific, home to large bureaucratic hackers, groups such as the Comet Crew pursue targets in high-frequency brute force attacks, whereas Russian and Eastern Europe, more technically advanced cyber attacks that are often highly effective at evading detection. So they're kind of quiet when they come in. The Middle East cyber criminals often use creativity, deception, and social engineering to trick users into comprising their own computers, as compared to the United States, who they say their origin of the most complex target and rigorously engineered cyber attacks, such as the Stuxnet worm. Attackers favor a drone-like approach to malware delivery. So the company FireEye goes on to speculate about factors that would change the world's cybersecurity landscape in the near to medium term, including cyber arms treaties and so forth. But it's interesting that they can kind of tell just by how the attack is formulated, kind of where it's coming from, which is kind of an interesting thing. So I'm sure now that if this is, if this holds any precedent, any precedence, that the cyber crews or cyber attackers may start changing up a little bit. But kind of some interesting insight into what happens with cyber attacks. And again, that link will be up in the show notes. There's a Channel Forum 2013 is a conference that basically enterprise folks go to, enterprise computing. And they're saying that Google is on the edge of becoming a serious player in corporate IT. And basically, as they start to invade some of the markets, they feel that Google's going to start becoming more of a threat to a lot of IT companies. And one of the speakers said that the tech industry, following 5 years of financial turbulence, now faces a relatively benign economic environment as the risk of a euro meltdown and further banking collapses has abated. He says, but companies like Google are starting to really make inroads, and for everything from the Google Android and different stuff that they're bringing on the market is going to, and it basically makes it easier to consume Google products. they say that Google is going to start impacting traditional IT on the enterprise side, which I thought was interesting. Whereas they say Apple is not necessarily going for the enterprise side. It's all internal. They don't do a lot of stuff external besides their devices and computers. So interesting discussion point, and it's got a lot of these IT enterprise companies really, really worried a lot. Should come as no surprise that Facebook and Twitter are basically starting to share data with Nielsen, and they're trying to give them, selling them data. It's all about the data. What are people doing? The chatter behind TV shows, and they're going to start giving them insight and so forth. So the report, which the Wall Street Journal tells us will be sent to the networks weekly, tell the broadcasters how many times each show was mentioned in both private and public conversations, and how many times those conversations were liked or commented on. The idea, of course, is to provide information about how engaging programs were rather than how many people watched them. Engage on the show. Talk about it on Facebook. Spread the word. Share the link. I guess that's the new measurement, right, for a show's popularity. Washington Post officially sold to Amazon's. It's closed. Washington's Amazon Bezos has closed. So Jeff Bezos is now the proud owner of the Washington Post, and I guess they will figure their future out from here. There's some sources saying that Apple may be negatively impacted by supply issues. We know that Tim Cook, when he was Apple's COO, had a very tight control of the supply chain, and it was legendary. He really set the mark on how it was supposed to happen. But apparently, the widely expected iPad Mini with Retina display, something a lot of fans of Apple products have been wanting, could be delayed because they just can't get enough production ramped up. And part of the problem for Apple is that it came late to the 7-inch landscape, with Google and Amazon having tied up a lot of production facilities. And of course, Apple's also set tough power-saving benchmarks that aren't being reached by manufacturers. So we'll see where this leads, but they need to get that under control, and I'm sure they're working very aggressive. They got so much money, they just throw money at it, it'll fix itself. But we'll see. Overseas, the stolen mobile phone market is huge. If you're overseas and you want to buy a used mobile phone and you get it from a street vendor, that thing is as hot as anything that's known to man. But in the Philippines, a smartphone maker called My Phone has what's called an iceberg model and a new feature called Tara, aka Theft Apprehension and Asset Recovery Application. And of course, Tara will be familiar to all of us that have Apple devices, called basically Find My iDevice. I'll tell you a little story here. The other night, it was actually Monday night, wrapped up the show, and I'm looking around, where's my phone? And so your brain's kind of, and it was late, and I was trying to think, where is that stupid thing? And of course, the first thing you do is you pick up another phone and you dial it and you listen for it to ring. And then you start panicking. Did I have it with me when I was in the car? So your brain's racing, right? And I've done this a couple of times. So I go on and find my iPhone, and basically it was in the car, in the out on in the driveway, So the little GPS thing is, showing me where it's at, and I'm just like, okay, I left it in the car. But how many of you have done that? I did that once with my wife, and she thought she'd left it in the store, and her iPad was in the car. But anyway, this Tara from this Philippine smartphone maker, basically it emits what the manufacturer calls a loud alarm. It repeats the word, and I probably will destroy this. So any of you that are Filipino that listen to this show, I apologize in advance. I only know a little Tagalog, but I don't know this one. But it basically screams out, "Magnanaka, magnanaka." That's Tagalog for thief. Of course, Tagalog is the native language of the Philippines and is spoken by about the majority of the population there. Of course, there's dialects in each province, but anyway, very, very cool. And the phone costs just under 12,000 Philippine pesos, which is actually quite a bit if you think about the economy there. That's $275 US. But we'll see. And of course, with phone theft the way it is, and if they make it so that it really, and of course, cyber criminals are going to figure out real quick how to avoid this, pull the battery out of it. Number one, but we'll see where this goes. Of course, Iran's been in the news a lot, but I found this story to be kind of curious. The Iranian cyber war chief was shot dead. A lot of speculations going on what happened to him. But anyway, the chief of Iranian cybersecurity, basically his body was found in an isolated woodland near a town called Karaj, which is northwest of Tehran, and he'd been shot twice through the heart. So, I'm sure he probably had the juice on somebody, and that person didn't like that, and they took this guy out and whacked him. Of course, lots of conspiracy theorists are running around here that they're saying the Mossad may have done it or so forth, but more than likely he had dirt on someone, and he may have been trying to strong arm a little bit, and they didn't like it, and they took him out and whacked him. But I'm sure we'll never know. But that kind of stuff happens a lot in a variety of countries around the world. Well, if I'm sure that all of you've been watching what's going on with the Affordable Care Act, or better known as Obamacare. But be careful of your email, okay? Obamacare-related spam scams have been rolling out and are ramped up starting on past Tuesday. And spam containing the terms Medicare, enrollment, and medical insurance have really started punching out here. So be careful of what you get in email. You can almost be guaranteed the government's not going to email you. You're going to have to go to the website itself. So just be careful out there and warn people that you love, and maybe the folks are a little older and might be a little more susceptible to this, to be on the prowl. And when in doubt, check it out. Okay. All right. Samsung's Home Sync Android TV box will hit store on October 6th for $299. And so we'll see what this is all about. I'd like to be able to get one to review on. I don't know if I'm going to or not. But it's pretty exciting here that they're going to be coming out with their own Android TV, and the Jelly Bean-powered box lets you use Galaxy phones or tablets as a remote control, and offers up to a terabyte of storage for up to 8 user accounts. And you'll be able to sync and share content from your mobile device to your big screen, as well as surf and web stream your content wirelessly. So that's about it, $299, and pretty hard to compete with the good old Chromecast. We all know that housing space is a premium in many cities. I didn't know it was such a premium in Seattle, but apparently a former storage unit in a century-old Seattle building was converted into a rather versatile microhome by an aircraft engineer. He's living in 182 square feet with 8 separate spaces. I think you'll find the video a little intriguing, at the same time a little weird. But anyway, link will be up in the show notes. A strategy that might be taking place right now. Bloomberg's reporting that Microsoft and HTC are in talks to put Windows on Android phones. So I don't know if this is going to be a separate offering or a dual boot system or what. But anyway, that's the rumor on the street from Microsoft and HTC. Airbnb, of course, many of you know what Airbnb is. It's a site where you can go out and basically bid to stay in someone's home. You can book a stay in a big city, and you don't have to stay in a hotel. You can stay in someone's loft or apartment or home. And usually when they're not there, but if you're in New York City, by law, at least one of the main occupants has to be at the home for you that you want to rent. But at the same time, that's been abused a little bit. But Airbnb is saying that New York renters should have to pay an occupancy tax. They're trying to avoid litigation, and they're pushing for looser hotel laws. But obviously, the hotel folks in New York City, which are some of the most expensive hotels in the United States, rarely can you find anything less than $400 a night in Manhattan. Well, I guess if you live in go down the south side, you can find stuff a little bit cheaper, but definitely not cheap to stay in Manhattan, especially if you're anywhere close to, Midtown. But they're laying out a plan, and they're trying to get it promoted, and maybe through basically the councils there. I think they got a big uphill battle, but Airbnb is trying to improve the offering in New York City. Amazon is also preparing a set-top box for the holidays. So the set-top box would pit the online retailer against a host of established rivals, and it's going to be available pretty soon. No word on. Well, actually, they're saying what is the pricing going to be? Do they say? They say key innovation for Amazon is boosting its Prime membership roles, which may be bolstered by a set-top box. I pay my $79 for Prime. It's worth every penny for me, but we'll see what happens when this thing is actually introduced. Boy, oh boy, I got a stack of stuff here left, and we're going to be out of time. You're going to be able to go into a Target pretty soon, and you're going to be able to pick up a prepaid phone. They're going to be offering a new service. It's called MVNO, Mobile Virtual Network Operator, a mobile carrier that does not own a wireless infrastructure. And I guess at Target is working with T-Mobile. So you're going to be able to get a prepaid from Target with kind of their own branding. Apple has purchased Q for over $40 million to compete with Google Now. How many of you use Google Now? I don't. I don't think I've ever watched Google Now. Use Google Now. I know some people that do. But anyway, Apple's bought Q to compete. We'll see where that leads. All right, kind of a gross subject, but there's this really bad thing that happens to a large number of people every year. It's a very nasty infection. It affects up to 500,000 Americans a year and kills 14,000. It's called Clostridium difficile. I'm just completely destroying this. Or C. difficile, or DIFICILE. But basically what this is it's your gut doesn't work real good, and your whole system, you have vomiting, cramps, and, going on both ends. And say it affects a lot of people. So the treatment for this, hold on to your noses, has been fecal transplant. And that's where they literally transplant someone else's doo-doo into the patient's body. And now this can be done a variety of ways. And I promise, if you're eating, turn this. I'll stop. I'll just link in the show notes. But some guys come up with a better solution. It's a pill, and it doesn't dissolve until it's in your intestine. This is pretty gross. But they say this is a very ingenious idea that gets the bacteria right back in your gut, and basically helps you recover from this. I pray I never get this. Oh my God. What they have to do is not good. I'll link up the show notes. I'll let you go through the details. Wow. All right, if you're an Adobe customer, the network's compromised. 2.9 million customer names and encrypted credit card has basically been absconded. So I'm sure I'll be getting an email from them. Today they revealed the network was compromised. Information that was leaked includes 2.9 million customers' names, encrypted credit card and debit cards, expiration dates, and other information related to customer orders. Adobe won't say when the breach occurred and only mentioned that its security team discovered sophisticated attacks on its network very recently. Source code for numerous Adobe products was also accessed. And as a precaution, the company is resetting relevant customers' passwords that prevent unauthorized access to Adobe ID accounts. If your user ID and passwords involved, you receive an email notification with information on how to change your password. Adobe also recommends that you change your passwords on any websites where you may have used the same user ID and password. So watch your email. This is not good. Again and again, companies, this is why at Raw Voice we are not storing anybody's credit card. Not on our servers. No way, no how. We're leaving that to the professionals. These base jumpers, man, pretty incredible, some of the stuff they did, and very dangerous too. Recently, we've had some deaths with base jumping. I have a link up in the show notes to a pretty incredible video for you to watch. Twitter's IPO is forthcoming. They want $1 billion, but Twitter's revenue was $28 million in 2010, $106 million in 2011, $317 million in 2012, and $254 million in the first half of 2013, yet they are still not profitable. There is worry about Twitter's growth. Apparently, they have 215 million users and have only grown 15 million users. They've only added an average of only 15 million monthly active users since the company hit more than 200 million late last year. So that's kind of curious. Their numbers have slowed. But anyway, that's what they're reaching for, is $1 billion. Over on Lifehacker, they've got the secret method to skip commercials with one button on your DVR, and they give you some instructions for folks that are on Comcast, DirecTV, Dish Network, Verizon Fios TV, or a TiVo. So if you have one of those devices, you'll definitely want to reprogram your remote control to do what they've done to skip the commercials. 13 members of Anonymous indicted on U.S. hacking charges. 13 alleged members of a loosely organized hacking collective were indicted in connection, and they basically indictment unsealed in Alexandria, charge of 13 with attacks between September 2010 and January 2011 on the MPAA, RIAA, Visa, MasterCard, and Bank of America, and others. And they were part of a group known as Operation Payback. So they're going to go see the judge. Won't be so anonymous anymore. I guess Ballmer got docked in his pay. In its annual proxy statement, it indicated that Steve Ballmer had his pay docked because of the Windows Division lackluster performance in the past year. Ballmer received $1.26 million in fiscal 2013, a base salary of $697,000, and a bonus of only $550,000. And apparently, he was only got 79% of the total for which he was eligible. Comparably, for fiscal 2012, Ballmer received 91% of his eligible incentive award. But basically, weakness in the consumer market hurt him. So he's not hurting. He's got the guy's set up for life. You don't have to worry about him going hungry anytime soon. And I guess Samsung may have been snooping a little bit on some documents they shouldn't have, that their lawyers had access to from Apple during some of their court cases. But apparently, Apple is going after them for saying, "Hey, you've got some information you should not. Some of your executives should not have." And judge is looking into that. So that continues. Remember when there was a campaign from Microsoft called Bing It On? Well, Bing It On numbers have been disputed, and Microsoft has responded. So some people are saying, Microsoft, you didn't have as good a numbers as you said you did. And but anyway, there is a good write-up on this. So, the naysayers are after Microsoft on a daily basis here. MIT, boy, you gotta love these guys. MIT is basically a droplets breakthrough, could turbocharge power plants, airships, and more. And basically, it's about steam and water droplets. And it talks about how their expansion, and this is all dealing with power plants and condensers. And for those of you into that kind of engineering stuff, I'll have a link up in the show notes for you. I won't go into much detail, but basically they think they're going to be able to get more performance out of steam-based generation. All right, the iPhone 5S motion sensors are basically a little bit screwed up. There's some reporting that the sensors aren't completely level all the time. They might be 1 to 2 degrees off. And I'll let you watch the video to check it out yourself. Let's see here. One last article for you today. Actually, we're done. We already covered everything. All right, so let me go ahead and get open up email here. We're actually doing okay on time. I don't think there was... Most email that came in was "I love you, I hate you" comments. If that makes any sense. So let me see what we've got in the email. And I want to say hello to Toby K, someone I haven't seen in the chat room before. Toby, thanks for being here. I got some more entries for the Go bag, so that's all still open for you guys. And let me look at the date. Yeah, these are all... Oh, Kurt. He said, "Hey, Todd, sorry, but I have to point out a Toddism." And for those of you that have been with the show for a while, you know a Toddism is when I completely, on a regular basis, destroy the English language. He says, McAfee is a Scottish name. Thus, MC is a prefix. It's pronounced separately. So the C is not added to the second syllable. That means McAfee is pronounced McAfee. A few moments later, you correctly pronounce McHenry. The MC in McAfee is pronounced the same way, McAfee. Just want to make sure you're not offending your Scottish listeners. You know, I do have some Scottish heritage, Kurt. So you know, it's just, you know, I think a lot of people do that, but I guess just have to remember Big Mac, McAfee, McHenry. So thanks for keeping me straight. I definitely appreciate it, Kurt. That's why I love you guys. I really, really do. And you know, for years and years and years, it was another specific antivirus company, Symantec, not Symantec, Symantec. So anyway, a lot of fun. It's just like when I type there and there, and we and were, we and where, where and were. Yeah, you get it. All right, that's it. Let's get out of here. Geeknews@gmail.com. Geeknews@gmail.com is the place where you can drop an email. Hey, you know, if you guys feel so inclined, becoming an insider is really a great way to support the show. And we hope that you will do so. Coming in at 6.7 cents a day equals $2 a month. And 2, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 bucks, whatever it may be, or a single contribution is always welcome. You can always email a check. You can find information at geeknewscentral.com/insider. There's a link to the Insider program as well on the second column of the website, so definitely check that out. We also want to make sure that you really take care of our sponsor here, because in all honesty, GoDaddy is largely responsible for the lights staying on, my family being fed, and me being able to put gas in the car and paying the electricity bill. So I mean that seriously. So I appreciate all of your guys' ongoing support of picking up products and services at GoDaddy, sharing my codes with friends, family members, people that you know. Don't put it on the bathroom wall. We don't want you to do that, but we definitely want you to share. And you know, and if you don't buy a product, always reviews over iTunes, a mention on Facebook, a mention in Google Plus. Anything that you guys can. If you guys love the show, we want you to share the passion. And again, I am looking for 2 coordinators. I'm looking for a prize and contest coordinator and an insider coordinator. If you'd like that job, just drop me an email here at geeknews@gmail.com. And that will be a big blessing to me to help me out. And for those of you that are on furlough right now because of the government shutdown, I feel for you. I really do. I know that every day is it's a negative impact to your checkbook, and I just don't know, like the rest of you, when this is going to come to a resolution. Basically my theme at this point is get rid of them all. In other words, vote every last one of them, Republican, Democrat, Independent, vote them all out. Get rid of all these old men and bring in some fresh faces, and get that cronyism out of there, and all this, these lobbyists and everything that just drags the machine down. These folks in Congress need to start working for the people that elected them. This is a republic, and they're supposed to listen to us and not do their own thing. And I don't know if they do that very much anymore. So that's all I'll say about that. But thanks everyone for being here, and all of you want to get on furlough. My heart goes out to you, and keep your fingers crossed. Okay. All right, everyone, take care. Thanks for being here. See you next time. Aloha.